How's it going? Once again, Beyond the Business Nation, it is your man JT coming at you to talk about those Miami Dolphins. Took a couple of weeks off. Hadn't talked about the last few games, but certainly, unfortunately, did sit through and watch them. Firstly, I just want to wish you guys all a very Merry Christmas yesterday. Happy holidays, however you spend this time of year. I just hope it was great and blessed for y'all. But now, I just want to talk in this video about the past two games and all the talk that's been going down and the rumors out there currently. Because ever since the blowout loss to the Minnesota Vikings, because of course that's what would happen after beating the Patriots at home, just of course, and losing to the duo of Cody Kessler and Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars while putting up only 7 points at home. So not even your home field advantage could save the Miami Dolphins from their season inevitably ending. And now, ever since then, there's just been nonstop talk about, who stays, who should go, should we clean house, what about Tannebaum, what about Grier, what about Gase, what about Tannehill. So I'm just here to fill in a little bit on all of those rumors and also what I think, because, it's my channel, right? But, starting at the top, today there have been a lot of rumors circulating around Mike Tannebaum that he is expected to be released as the Vice President of Football Operations. A title for the Dolphins, as they really have kind of like a three branches situation. And this is, a pretty big deal. And according to the same reports, Grier and Gase are expected to stay as GM and head coach. So it would not be a clean house if these rumors came true. But it is a pretty significant deal. Tannebaum, controls the free agent process, is really the negotiator for the team. Grier, focuses mostly on the draft and scouting, and they both kind of work together through the offseason to put the roster together for head coach Adam Gase. So this would be a pretty sizable move. Who would replace him? There's lots of different talks and, reports. Some reports that it could just be Dan Marino and be a bit of a, power figure, but maybe, really Grier and Gase making the football decisions. There's also new executives that have been rumored. So I don't know particularly who I would want. The one thing I will say is, even as somebody who has been a defender of Adam Gase and do believe he could become a good head coach, does it make sense to force Grier and Gase on a new executive? Again, unless it's somebody like Marino, who is just kind of there to oversee things and give his input and do, make a few moves, but isn't really a real power figure. Does it make sense to do that? Not really. And I'm not going to be pleased with anything that kind of looks like a halfway rebuild. I'd rather almost just keep everybody. At the end of the day, I think Gase can turn this team around. It is a young team. It was an injured team. So even keeping everybody, which is not what I think they should do, but even in that, I think the team could get better and could make the playoffs. So I'd really rather just Stephen Ross kind of man up, make a decision, more or less, to either go full in and just start cleaning house, or maybe make a few changes or two. But let me know what you guys think. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if you wanted to bring in a new executive, and maybe as that guy's getting experience under his feet, let him, assign him a GM and a coach. But if you bring in anybody that's a power figure, anybody that's a former executive in themselves, they're not going to want to work with Grier and Gase, and you're just kind of setting that up for failure in a lot of ways. As for Adam Gase, preferably of the trio of Tannebaum, Grier, and Gase, if I could keep anybody, I would keep Gase. And so, I think maybe the best decision would be to, if you are going to fire Tannebaum indeed, to hire just the best candidate you can get out there and let him make that decision. If he likes Adam Gase, if he thinks Adam Gase can be a good head coach, then he keeps Adam Gase. If he's insistent on somebody else, then give him that kind of power. You know what I mean? I think that would really be the ideal situation. As far as quarterback, I really don't know what they're going to do with Ryan Tannehill if they cut him. They have to pay him $13 million of his contract next year, but they would save $13 million. It'd be about a 50-50 split. I don't know if that savings worth it. Look at what the Ravens and the Chiefs have done. You know, you can keep a respectable, decent starter along while you find the ultimate guy and maybe somebody with a little more upside. And that's really what I think the Dolphins, should focus on. They absolutely need to draft a quarterback in the first or second round, maybe third round at the latest if you take a chance on a guy like a Tyree Jackson or Will Grier. I love the idea of a Drew Lock or Dwayne Haskins. Not so much Herbert. I just think Herbert's a little too similar to Tannehill. So, you know, if you're not pleased with what Ryan Tannehill's given you, why would you draft kind of the same guy? But I think there's some very interesting quarterbacks. I don't like this whole, you know, narrative with the media that this is some terrible draft class. It's not a terrible draft class. Now, is it as good as last year? No. Is it probably going to be as good as 2020? Probably not, assuming the 2020 guys stay healthy and actually come out. That doesn't mean this one's bad, though, and I think that's where everybody's kind of getting lost. There are some very interesting players. I think the Dolphins absolutely can turn it around this offseason, but these next 2 weeks are going to be big because they set the precedent not only for this offseason, but off seasons to come. You know, making executive changes, potentially making coaching changes, defensive coordinator. You know, the Dolphins are probably going to have a new DC. I'd be interested in bringing back a Vance Joseph if he gets fired, or Todd Bowles if he gets fired. You know, these are the kind of decisions that are going to get the Dolphins, hopefully, finally out of this purgatory of 500 football, because this team has been, as I tweeted out, 23-23 their last 46 games, 42-42 their last 84 games. They've been stuck at 500 for far too long, and hopefully this offseason Stephen Ross finds a way out of it. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys would do, and I'll talk to you next time.